All right, back here at home now, today marking the first in-person meeting for Toronto City Council, and there is a lot to talk about. So for his weekly check-in, Toronto Mayor John Tory joining me now. Good morning to you, Mayor.
Hello, Mel.
Thank you so much for being here. All right, this is, let's start with City Council. There is a lot on the agenda today. Indeed, not everything we'll be able to get through. But I want to actually start with, it's an interesting move. Councillor Joe Cressy, and Board of Health Chair, he has had such a prominent role in the last couple of years, indeed, because of the pandemic. I know you spoke at the news conference yesterday when he told everyone he's moving positions, going to George Brown for quite a big position. I want to give you this opportunity to talk about Councillor Cressy, and for those who might not know what he did behind the scenes and how integral he was through this pandemic.
Well, he's been a great partner, and it's one of those things that has helped us to do well as a city. In particular, his role was to really work with me to make sure that no one was left behind. And that included in the early stages of the pandemic, food security programs and, programs to make sure we looked after seniors who were told they couldn't go out of their apartments and couldn't see people. And so we had to help look after them. And then as we moved into the vaccination phase, he was very helpful in the very successful programs we've had to make sure no one was left behind, to make sure that we, took the vaccine to the people in the community with trusted people, encouraging those who were hesitant to get vaccinated. So he's been a great partner to me in managing the pandemic, and I think our success as a city is because we were able to work together. I'm willing to work with any member of City Council who wants to work with me on these kinds of things. This was an extraordinary challenge that we faced as a city, very difficult decisions and very difficult tasks that are still in front of us in some respects in terms of vaccination and getting this behind us. And Joe Cressy was a big part of that, and he'll be great in his new job. And as I said yesterday, my guess is he'll be back at City Hall at some point in time going forward.
What does it look like for that riding now, for an interim person to step into the role, and what will be happening over the next few months?
Well, that's what's next. The law provides that you would not have a by-election this close to the general election, which is happening in October. And so it falls upon the City Council to appoint somebody. And so we have to begin working on that process as of now, because he's actually going to be at the City Council this week, Joe Cressy is. So the vacancy won't exist for a few days yet. And then we get started on putting a person in place as quickly as possible to serve the residents for the balance of the term between now and October when the election takes place.
Okay, so a lot there, and a very important area as well to look at in the city. Let's talk about the fourth doses now, because some of the important work that you talked about was the rollout of vaccinations, and now we're expecting to hear a few more details from the province when it comes to the rollout for that fourth dose for those 60 plus. Implementing for the City of Toronto, do you anticipate this will be something sort of like a mass clinic or within the communities? How will this all roll out?
I think the fourth dose will be much like the others, probably with more of an emphasis on pharmacies, because we've discovered that is an accessible, professional, a comfortable place for people to get vaccinated. So I think you'll see quite an emphasis on pharmacies, but we will maintain in place the mass immunization clinics we've had throughout. We will do things down to the local level, because there will, again, with fourth doses, be people who are more reluctant, need a bit more encouragement or information. And so we'll reach out to those people and make sure that no one is left behind. We'll obviously rely on doctors' offices to some extent. So the bottom line is, I asked Dr. Davila some time ago, knowing there would likely be some kind of a fourth dose for some group. It turns out it's going to be people over 60. And so we'll have a plan as soon as we know the details of the provincial framework. We'll have a plan that we'll outline very shortly to make it as easy as possible for people, because our priority remains very simple. And that is that if you want to know what our priority is as a city to help combat this wave of COVID-19, it is vaccination, vaccination, vaccination. Those are our top three priorities in that order. It hasn't changed, and we're going to be good at it as we have been so far and do a good job of it to protect people's health in our city.
A lot of the businesses, for them, it's going to be recovery, recovery, recovery as the weather looks nice, especially those in the restaurant industry. I know that's on tap for City Council as well, to talk about how to help this very struggling industry and to get back on its feet, things like patios and the music being played on patios. So what is on the table? And I don't mean that pun, but what is on the table?
What we're trying to do is just make it as easy as possible, first of all, for people to apply for and participate in our program. So we will have more than 1,000 restaurants participating in Cafe TO, which has been a great success. It helps them to produce more revenue. We have the small business tax bracket that's been created, brand new, to help people get as much as a 15% reduction in their business taxes. And then there are things like amplified music. And we know that we can't go crazy with that and have people, blaring loud music at 3 o'clock in the morning. But at the same time, some quiet music played on a patio at a reasonable hour hour of the day is something that people shouldn't be sort of harassed about. It improves the environment to get more people to come out and eat. So those are all things that are on the table. And that we will be working to make sure people can take advantage of who are in this business, because they have been hit so hard during 2 years of on again, off again closures and so on, and they need the chance, and hopefully will be a good summer, a healthy summer, to get back on their feet and to become financially healthy again.
Indeed, get people out and about. And with that, we're looking ahead to the Jays coming back into town, or they're already physically in town, but for everyone getting back to Rogers Centre on the Friday. And I know that Sid and Dina want to talk not just Jays, but some sports with you. So we're going this way.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
All good.
He's excited.
Yes, you can hear the excitement in Meritori's voice. Good morning.
I was
Good
equally
morning.
excited when I had my root canal.
No, but I was just thinking, you see, the minute they said Sid and Dina want to talk sports with you, I'm thinking, well, okay, in the intervening week between last week and this week, has Sid come on board with the Leafs?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, Meritori.
He's right on.
Because look, they had look. I know they lost in overtime last night, but they're doing well. Austin Matthews, of course, is a superstar as always.
Yes.
The Jays are going to be exciting. There's no doubt about that. And I think we're going to be back to a day where, for an ordinary game on a Wednesday night, you're going to have 40,000 people out. And we remember those days from the World Series and competitive years. The Raptors have made the playoffs. The Leafs are about to make the playoffs, and we've just got to get you behind them, Sid. That the point is, they're going to make the playoffs. We need your voice speaking loudly and clearly, saying "Go Leafs, go!" and that they're going to win and they're going to get past the first round, because then anything is possible. But last time it was a handicap. Imagine yourself sitting in that locker room, saying to yourself, "Well, Sid Seixeira, he's just down on us. He's not with us," and that was deflating for him. So we need you on side, sir.
Okay, here's. Okay, I sat there and listened to the last 180 seconds of you talking, Meritori.
I know it only seems that long.
So here listen. We get together
Better
every
than
week.
dead air.
Yeah, no, it's better than dead air. We get together every week, and I just get roasted by the mayor of the city because I'm a big fan of Meritori, and it's like, why don't you like the Leafs, and why don't you exercise, and why don't you shave more, and things like that. And I sit here and I'm like, look, some of these points are valid, but here's my problem, Meritori. Last night is my problem. The Toronto Maple Leafs in South Florida against a pretty good hockey team were up 5-1. Guess what happened? They didn't win 5-1. They lost 7-6 in overtime. It is the seventh time, I counted, seventh time since 2013 this team has blown a 4-1 lead, be it in the regular season or the postseason. Meritori, my heart can't take this. How do you answer? And I know you were nowhere near it, but I'm making you answer for that last night. How can you make the argument to me I need to get on board the bandwagon when my heart will be ripped in two like instances we saw last night?
It is sort of like how you handle your kids. Like, I know clearly this is sort of an outcropping of the days when you'd bring home a mediocre report card and your parents would chastise you for that. Instead of saying, Sid, we know you can do better. We know that you've got the talent to do better than you have done with this report card that really doesn't pass muster here. And so I'm saying to you, you need to get on board with the Leafs and say that was not good last night. I was watching; it was not good. It was not good. But you've got to encourage them. And they've got to make it through that first round, and they need you. You are a powerful voice in the media landscape here, shaving or not, and that you've got to get behind those Leafs. And
shaving or not. Quote of the day.
So what you're saying is it's like when my mom forced me to try ballet and I couldn't do anything. She's like, put on the tights, just keep trying, until the ballet teacher kicked me out of the class. You're at that portion of the program, Meritori. At least, see, the truth bombs were coming out. He's saying he was a little disappointed, but you got to encourage them.
Look, Meritori, before we let you go, we're kicking around the idea. It's not my idea, but we're kicking around the idea about a week before the postseason. Playoffs start May 2nd. Of some type of intervention happening here in studio to try and fully get me on board. Yeah. I'm putting a bug in your ear on it. They're going to need all the help they can get because I am as pessimistic as you can get. But it could happen. Just so you know, it could happen. And we may be reaching out.
if you're leading it, I think this will be not only a great reformation on your part, but it'll be a good event to help give them that encouragement. So I think it's all good. They do need all the help they can get. We've had so many years of going out in the first round, no matter how much talent. So let's get behind them and let's get through that first round. Because I think if they get through the first round, they can go all the way.
Confidence is a hell of a thing.
And let's go Blue Jays this Friday.
Yes, and congrats to the Raptors again.
Good.
Raptors
with a playoff spot last night. Take care, Meritori. Oh, it's an exciting time.
And Lakers out. No LeBron.
Lakers out.
What?
Raptors in. A lot happening here in Toronto. Speaking of,
Yes.
we're going to potentially give away some money today.
Money. I wake up with BT. You know what time it happens, just after 8 o'clock.